Well, hello, campaigners, and welcome anybody that's new. If you're new, welcome. Glad to have you. If you're one of my returning campaigners, always a pleasure to have you. This is Campaign Terrain. I am your host, That Guy Cross. Welcome to the basement. Tonight, I'm going to be building a big door for like a spaceship or space station, something like that. It's going to have it's going to mesh into itself so that the two halves block each other. Technically, it's going to be four halves. You'll see. And so it's going to be very thick, and I need to build the wall for it. I have no actual mechanical drawings for how I'm going to do it. It's all in my head. I did make one sketch a couple weeks ago. Of course, forgot to bring that down here, but it was so rudimentary that I can figure it out without it. I'm going to need a bunch of foam core for this. I could use some cardboard for some of it if I wanted instead. I don't have either immediately at hand because I had a couple of technical issues. That's why I'm getting started just a little bit late. So, 1 minute late. So yeah, I'm pretty much going to jump into it. Let me show you some things I did over the weekend. First, shave. That's weird. I haven't been without a beard in a long time. The house paint has fish, and so like pets, not dinner, and had gotten a couple more. So they come in these they're sturdy, but they're brittle containers, but always good to have clear containers because I'll end up using these for flock or something. I ran out of some hot sauce I had, and it came in this bottle. This is probably the toughest bottle with a lid on it I've ever had. I think this will probably end up being white paint because I have white paint ready to go and I have a bottle ready to go, so do that. But yeah, these are they don't pay me, so I'm not going to tell you what brand it is, but if you see these ones with the little flat, super flat top and bottom, those are really sturdy. Really sturdy. Nice. It seems that all of these caps tend to be the same size and fit each other. So yeah, so this will give me a squirty nozzle so I can put some white out there, or whichever color I end up putting in there. Had some chicken the other day, cleaned off the tray. These are always useful for things like I use these when I'm drying flock. I'll blend it up and make the flock and then put it in these, and I set a bunch of them out to dry at once. So these fit into the others. Let me push those out of the way, grab another piece of drywall, whiteboard or foam board, and I'll be right back. So. Okay, sorry about that, but I do have some more foam core now. Way more than I'm going to need. Way more than I'm going to need for this project. This project should pretty much just be foam core and maybe cardboard and some coffee stirrers. I'm still using the thin ones because I like them. They actually tend to work for me pretty good. And it's going to be just about the same thickness as the foam core once I peel the foam core because I'm not leaving the paper on here. So let me jump down to the table height and we will see what we're doing from there. All right. Put you down here as ever. Got to turn on the light when I switch to this camera because I leave it off so I don't blind y'all with it. Okay, why are we not turning on? There it goes. Okay. My little buddy says, share, like, and subscribe. I always forget to say that, so I left him out here to remind myself. Let me show you kind of what I'm going with let me get something to sketch on. Here we go. Pencil. I dropped one under the counter a minute ago, so I don't actually have one up here. It's been that kind of day. I know I've got my drafting pencil, which I guess in some drafting makes it appropriate. So, now that does not want to open. I've had this forever. You can tell the plastic's yellowed, but it's a good pencil. It's got an eraser. It's got a extra set of leads, all that. So, this blast door is going to have 4 layers. 6 layers if you count the walls. So they're going to end up looking like this. And, okay, I'm definitely going to need a straight edge if I'm going to try that. Yeah. Looks like I'm drawing after I've had a couple. And I have not had a couple. I have not had any in months and months and months. Okay. Okay, so that's close enough. I would say close enough for government work, but that gets onto too many subjects I don't want to talk about tonight. So I don't know if you can tell, we're just going to skip this side. That's 4 layers. These layers are going to have a part that fits basically right in the middle where, no, how do I word this? This one's only coming part way. This one's only coming part way, but you won't see that because they'll be hidden behind other ones. These front ones will be off center each to each other so that the whole thing comes together from the top, sort of like this. Actually, more like that. And so, yeah, the front will be a door frame. Wall goes this way. And the front is going to look like this. If you flipped it over, it will also look exactly like this because they will be exactly reversed from each other. So this part of the wall, door, will mesh into this part of the wall, door. I keep saying wall, I mean door. And they will have a secondary lip on them. That's where the coffee stir things comes in. And each of those will have 2 layers like that. Well, 1 on each side. And they'll mesh into each other thusly. So, enough drawing. Let's get to working. I need these to be 3 inches tall, the walls, give or take, because that's the scale I build to. Now, that includes the floor that's underneath. Now, the floor underneath, if I get to that, it won't be tonight. If I get to that before the project by next week, because this thing's I'll do on next Sunday earlier than my live stream. If I get to that over the week, then this whole wall that I'm building will sit atop it. And so that we can ignore for now. This needs to be just shy of 3 inches because I'm going to build little tabs on the doors, and those need to slide in that 3-inch door height. But they need to stand up just enough so that they're just a tab that's in there. That tab needs to be offset a little so that when I've pushed the 2 tabs together and the door comes together, the tabs don't quite don't quite line up. That's because the doors are not coming together like this, but like this. I don't know how to describe that till I do it. So I'm going to get around to that very, very soon if I can stop blathering. Let's go ahead and cut some 3-inch pieces. I was going to use these, but I think I'm just going to sit these to the side because I can cut new full 3-inch pieces of this. Now, this is that Ready board, comes from Dollar Tree, not supported. I would happily take more sponsorship if they brought it. I used to work for Dollar Tree, have no problem with the company. But the reason I mention that is that the white from Dollar Tree, the white Ready board, peels, the paper peels right off. It's super easy and smooth. To the best of my knowledge, there is not any foreign version that does that. Sorry, guys, just not the way it is. We live in a cruel, cruel world. Okay, so I need to take this and move my straight edge, move that out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. I'm taking this, I'm marking 3 inches all the way across, and I just put away my pencil because I keep thinking that other pencil's out here, and I forget I dropped it under the thing. So let me reach down here and grab that. Okay. Now, I could draw. You can take the pencil and nestle it in here and draw the line all the way across. I'm not bothering with all that. What I'm doing is I'm making a mark at 3 inches. I'm making a mark at 3 inches. And I'm taking my straight edge, lining that across the 2 marks. Again, this straight edge was made for me by a friend of a friend. There is no way you can get one exactly like this. Sorry about that. I like to tell everybody where I get all my stuff and how I, come up with all my tools and everything, but some stuff is a one-off. Okay, I can see that I have friends in the house, but I cannot see who you are, so that is fine. Welcome, 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 welcome. All right, now, I don't measure when I can gauge, so I'm going to take this piece that I just cut off, and if you always flip it back and forth, any slight irregularities take care of themselves, and it doesn't get too bad. If you keep doing it the same way, you'll end up with what they call cascading errors. Let's not do that. Line that up. Line that up. On my mark. On my mark. And line those two up. Low smooth cuts when you're cutting anything with XPS foam. That's what's in here. Between here is extruded polystyrene. That's between 2 layers of paper. This is the same foam. It's a lesser quality, but it's the same foam as the house insulation XPS foam. So it can be cut the same ways. And I am Mrs. Lynn. Hello. And whoever my other lurker is, also hello to you. So these can, I don't remember what I was saying. Cascading or cut. Oh, I don't know exactly what I was saying, but I know what I was thinking. What I was thinking was, I don't need as many as I'm about to cut here because this door is just not going to be that big. It's going to be big compared to the miniatures, but it's not big. And I am cutting way more than I need because I use 3-inch walls all the time. So I'm just going to keep on cutting. I'm going to cut about 2 more of these. Okay, that's one of them. Let's cut one more. As I said, I keep flipping this over so I don't get those cascading errors. All right. Oops, that's not lined up. There we go. Okay, last cut, and then I'm going to start building. Okay, we'll take those 2 and this piece and set them over here. Before I get too far into this, I'm going to talk about last week's stuff when I was doing all that dry brushing. I finished that for these pieces and several other pieces that y'all didn't see on the camera. So these are, I then created little trays for them. So that is that whole set that you saw. That's all 32 of these step pieces and the 16 of the flat pieces. Now you saw me dry brushing those on camera. So each one of these, I started to divide it in seconds and then realized that my box, in halves, and then realized that my box wasn't actually long enough that I could get a single tray out of that because I've got room for single trays, so that's fine. So I ended up making them half-length trays, which is good because that comes out to 1/4 of my set. So I can take these and stack them up and put them off where I need them to go. Next week, I will be taking these and, not kidding, about 100 other pieces and doing things like adding a little bit of glue to them and putting sand in all of these corners. Then once the sand is dried, I will wash these again one more time with a dark wash. That will help the sand to blend into these. Once all that's done, then I will come back and I will start to put on the moss, like I have done in some house builds and such. So y'all may have seen me do that. And so these have 2 more steps, along with like 100 other pieces, including city block blocks, some of my smaller blocks, etc., bridge pieces, all of that. So next week, you'll be seeing these a lot because I'll be gluing sand to these or something like these. Oh, got to move stuff around delicately. Give me just a second. I'll be right back. Gently. Like I said, I got a lot of stuff, so I got a whole stack of stuff over here, and I got to stack it up gently so that nothing goes to the floor. All righty, now let's get down to business. Okay, I'm leaving the paper on until I've got them all cut, because that way I can make marks on the paper, and those will not carry over to the doors, because the doors, once they get painted, sometimes the pencil lines show through and all of that. So I need to decide how wide my door is going to be and how wide the pieces inside my door are going to be. And I got to figure that out now kind of on the fly. I think what I'm going to do is have the entire piece be a foot, which this square right here is a foot by a foot. So it makes it easy for gauging things. I think I need the entire thing to be about a foot wide, because that fits my other motif I've done with some other things. But those blast doors have to have room to slide completely out of the way. So I'm going to end up with a narrower gap than I really want, but I think I can make that work. So I need to take this and nope, I'm going to use card for that instead of paper. Let me grab that. Card's easy. I know where that's at. That'll be quick. Okay, now need to cut this to 3 inches as well. So that'll be easy enough because I've already got this piece, so I can just lay this on here and cut along it. A lot of cutting in this piece tonight. A lot of cutting in this piece tonight. That's a 3-inch piece. That's a 3-inch piece. So, anybody got any projects going on? Hey, Kim, how you doing? That's Kim. She's got her own channel named Questboard Terrain. Amazing builds and always tells good stories. So, hey, Kim, this is for next week's outside the comfort zone challenge. I don't know if you've got anything you got going on for that, but that deadline is next Sunday, a week from today, earlier than this. So if you get a chance, go check out Questboard Terrain's YouTubes and see yourself some beautiful builds. All right. Cutting these all in 3-inch pieces, in case anybody missed that. This is for the this is going to be the height of the wall, because I'm building like a blast door sort of thing for like a spaceship or space station. And excuse me. So yeah, I am needing some 3-inch pieces to just figure out and design a door, which I'm kind of doing on the fly tonight. I've got a general idea where I'm going with it, but this is not a fly by the seat of the pants. I guess it's a land at the space station by the seat of the pants moment. Yeah. Okay. Excuse me for my cough. I need to figure out what angle to make these at. I think it's pretty much going to be 45 for many reasons, but the most obvious one is ease. So I need to figure out, this is 3 inches tall. If I'm doing it 3/4 inch, do I want that to actually only be an inch wide? And I think I don't. I think I want it to be more like 1.5 inches. I think I'll do that at 1.5 inches. So I need to find the middle piece of one of these, the middle point of one of these. Again, my grid is, each of these squares is 1 inch, and there's little points on it for 1/4 inches. So I'm going to make that at halfway. And I am going to need 2 things that butt up against each other. So we'll take that and so make that a halfway. That way I know, oh, I see what I did wrong there. Okay, so then I need to go to I need to go 3/4 inches off of each of those. That's right there. Some of my dots are not as accurate because I cut on this all the time. I've literally cut some of my dots off. They say these are, quote, self-healing, but they only can take so much, and I cut on these mats a lot. A lot. Okay, come on now. Okay, so that should be about 3/4 of an inch on each of these gaps. I want to take those, match those up over here. They don't have to match. I'm just getting them close for when I go to cut the 45 degrees off. All right, now, just to make sure that these match, I'm going to draw an arrow that points to the up. Okay, this first one will be easy. What I'm going to do, excuse me, take this and butt it up against the edge of the table, and then slide the card under it. Make sure that that's firmly against it, like this, and lined up so it's not wonky like that. And I want to take this to match that mark up with the front plane of the diagonal part of the speed square, and then hold my hand at a very awkward angle and cut that off. I will then take that and do the same thing the other way around. Now this will be easier because, one, I've got this leaned up against here. It's got a lot more surface area to lean against the square. I could have done the other one this way, but I didn't think about it. So, I'll also be cutting on the correct side of the square. So this will be an easier cut for me because I'm very right-handed, like stupidly right-handed. I am not good with the left at all. Okay, so, ta-da, and we're done. Thank you, good night. No, I'm kidding. Okay, now this is also the front. So what's got to happen is this has to meet into here so that they butt up against each other. And you will see what I am talking about in just a moment. Now, both of these need to be straight as well. So I'm going to take this and use this as a lip to put both of those against. I am not using this as my cutter. I'm using the edge of the door as my cut mark. So I will take that, and I'm lining this corner of this piece up to just at that door. And no, I don't want to do that. I will mark that, and I will mark that. And then, without moving anything, I will mark the rest of that out. Okay, now I need to cut this. Now, there's everything, blades, pencil marks, everything has a width. That width is called a kerf. I need to cut this pencil. If I cut this mark, it will not actually be where I want it to be because I will lose that pencil width difference. So I want to cut just inside the kerf. By inside, I mean this piece that I'm cutting off needs to be removed. So I want to take that and put the blade just on that and the inside of that kerf. It's hard to do because I can't really see it from this side. And my table's doing that bowing thing. So let me grab my better cutting board. And ooh, I need that sharpened. Let's go ahead and sharpen that. Where's my sharpener? All right. So, oh, good. You're working on, Tim's working on the out of the comfort zone entry as well. I have no idea what you're building, but I'm sure it will be amazing. You've built all sorts of stuff, so I'm not sure what's outside your comfort zone either. I don't, like I said before, this is not really outside my comfort zone because I can build anything, but I don't typically build anything modern or futuristic, and parts of spaceships are definitely futuristic. So, okay, I am now actually cutting just inside that pencil line. Ooh, I actually cut on that pencil line. That's probably not. Oh no, I did a good job. All right, go over here. Do the same thing here. Man, having a sharp knife makes all the difference. So, if you can afford it, always use a sharp blade or use a sharpener to get a sharp blade. Either one. Dull knives, not only are they more dangerous because they can slip and cut you more easily, or cut something you don't want to cut, whether that's a body part or a project part, but they also are less accurate. So sharper is better. Okay, now, as you can see, those two parts will butt into each other. So this is 1/4 of my door's patterning done, but I'm going to use the same pattern over and over. So now I have all of the patterns I need to actually get started with the other thing. So what I'm going to do is realize that I have already messed up because I needed to make these 2 3/4 and have the tabs. So what I am going to do instead is I am going to make my doors so they don't ever quite go out of the way. So like into the door frame, it's going to have this much sticking out. That way I can just grab the door and slide it forward. It won't be this part because the parts behind are... I don't know how I'm going to do that. All right, I got to figure it out. All right, so this is longer than I need. I don't have any idea how long this is because I literally just cut it out of a piece of card. But these two should be about the same length because I cut them out of the same card. They are. So I am now going to arbitrarily use these as my sizing. And I'm going to take that. And first off, to get my straight line across, I'm going to line it up the other way, butt that up on that end. And then I'm going to make a little mark right here in the middle. And I'm going to use my square to cut that square. Again, low, slow cuts anytime you're going through foam or paper, but foam, it matters a lot more. Low, slow cuts get you a nice smooth cut on that edge of that foam. Now I haven't peeled this yet, so that's helping as well, but still. See? No drags, no cuts, no obviously cuts, no drags, no gouges, no off-cut pieces. Okay, and we already talked about the fact that you want to gauge instead of measure. I know that I've cut this one, but it may have an issue here, but that accuracy, by the time I get all this said and done, is not going to be that great. So I'm going to use that same piece, butt it up against there, and make that. Now I'm going to need 4 of these. You'll see why. Okay. Using that same one. Like I said, the accuracy is not as big a deal. So you saw me just flip that just then. That's not going to be necessary for this project. I'm just in the habit of that. I've been doing that for 40 years. So, both with this and when I actually used to work construction. See, did it again. Didn't even think about it. Just did it. Okay. Here, almost to the dunny part. For my Australian friends, no, I did not mean the dunny part. I meant the dunny part. It's totally different. Anybody who's not Australian is probably going, what? Okay, so those are my outer 2 layers of my doors. I also need my inner 2 layers, and I have decided that my inner 2 layers are going to be a simple diagonal. You will see what I mean in a moment. I think. Yeah, because there's no way to get it even the other way. but that piece is going to stick way out. Thinking to myself, do. All right, I'm going to need 8 of these. I'm going to do it a different way. So I'm going to cut 4 more of these. Still watching that guy cut stuff just ran? Yep. What do you do this time? Cut more stuff. Rename the channel. Cutting Terrain. Don't you ever get around to building anything? Not apparently. Okay. 3/4 of the way with the doors. All right. So. Seven eighths. Okay. Hmm. 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 Okay. Need 4 that are cut this way and 4 that are cut this way, and I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now while I'm thinking about it. All right. Hey, LC, how you doing? Loosely Collected has joined us. Got some great builds going on lately. Lots of mini painting going on lately. So that's been kind of cool. For some of that, you're gonna have to come to my Discord, check out this stuff, or go find Loosely Collected on his socials. Okay. Oh, this thing is wanting to get squirrely. Okay. I think your problem is the knife. Let me switch to a thinner knife, to a more delicate, precise knife here. Watch me need to sharpen this one as well. I'm pretty sure I sharpened this one right before I put it up. Yep, I sure did. It's sharp as shit. Excuse me, sorry. Show is not for kids. So any kid who's managed to be on the internet enough to find their way to my channel probably already knows that word. Not like people hide that word. Now this show's all about inspiration. I'm fine with kids getting inspired by my builds, but I'm not going to childify my speaking for younger audiences. Sorry, I'm just not. Okay. Halfway there with what I'm going to call the, I can't help this. This is just the way our industry works. The male side of this door, because the male side's got to fit into the female side. That's just the way it's described. Sorry, anybody can't deal with that. I don't know. Blame the pipe fitters and electricians guilds. Anybody else doing anything spacey out there? Shiplap, yes, there you go. Hero Quest monsters are done. Excellent. Well, the vintage ones are done. Okay, God, you've got so many of those thinkings too. They've got whole plates of minis going, ready to go. But I guess Hero Quest came with a bunch of those for all the different scenarios you can have and all that. So that's kind of cool. Okay, now the other part's going to be much more difficulter. That's right, difficulter. Okay, I did the easy part. I've did the easy part. Oh, Lord, speak. All right. Okay. It's that point where my piece I'm building from is already getting a little torn up, and this is only going to get worse as I keep going. So at this point, we're throwing accuracy out the door in lieu of close enough. As ever, to try to make cuts as nice as possible, you want to start in the corner of the cut and cut out. So on this one, I cut out this way, and on this one, I'm cutting this way, but not all the way to here. I will then turn the knife around and cut back that direction. So, and then once it's all said and done, I'm still going to have some tiny little pieces behind the scenes that are still connected right down in that little corner. So I'm going to have to go be careful with those in a minute. Okay. There's that flipping around of the knife I mentioned. Okay. So, I still got a part connected here. Loosely connected here. See what I did there, LC? Totally used your name in vain, so to speak. All right. So now I got to make that happen 3 more times. I'm going to do these one layer at a time just so it doesn't get away from me, because things can get wiggly. God, white on white with these weird lights. I cannot see that at all. In fact, I so can't see that I am going to take a pencil and draw along that edge so I can see that. Because dang, y'all. Okay, much mo better. I'm using the foam core from the layer above to keep my blade pressed against, so I keep it vertical. And then I'm cutting completely in the wrong spot, so that's going to be a fun thing when we turn that around. And there we go. Okay. Like that. Back up again. Oh, you know how I should do this? I'm going to do this completely different on the next one. Just bear with me for a second, y'all. What I'm going to do now is this way, this way. Now, set that one off to the side. We're doing that different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, line this piece up here, and then I am going to color that a bunch. I see exactly where that's going. Then I'm going to cut that off. Wow. Between the paper and specifically the XPS foam, it's already dulling my knife blade. Craziness. Now, as far as keeping my knife blade vertical, yeah, I'm just hoping. I'm just trying to do that by hand. Pretty good with stuff like that, but sometimes stuff gets away from me. So, like I said, we have well and truly passed the close enough mark of accuracy. as you can see, I did not make a good cut there. That is not even remotely accurate. So, F it, move on. All right. Oh, yeah, that is bad. As I mentioned before, pencil lines actually take up 3D space, so I'm cutting just to the side of the pencil lines so that they, this one's not ever so slightly larger than the last one. I'm trying to get it as close to the last one's size as possible. And wow, did not do too badly on that one, Mr. Cross. You did a decent job there. A little piece of paper there, the back. Cut that. There we go. Okay. All right. I think we can kind of see where I'm going with this now, because long story short, these doors are going to shut like this. Oh, not all going to be that way. Okay, so this one's going to be that way, and then that way, and then that way. Okay, so now you see where I'm going with this. Except these are going to be offset, so I'm actually going to have them like that. And then those will butt into those. Oh, this is fun. I actually enjoy stuff like this, 3D puzzles and stuff. Kind of fun. Okay, so if I want this and this to match up, if I do, no, I'm trying to get as little of the pointy bit sticking out as possible, because that's going to be the weaker part. But I think I'm going to have to do them pretty much like that. All right. And of course, I didn't turn on my glue gun, so we're going to let that heat up while I peel the 8 of these. All right, so let's see. Yeah, tab A into slot B, that's totally what this project is. I have more than average on the original headquarters. I have pretty close to a double of the main box set and one of the original modules. That is so cool. That was never my game. I don't know how I seem to have missed it, but like I didn't even know it came. I was older than the target demographic when it came on, but it's not like I didn't see commercials on TV and such, and all my friends seem to have had it. But for those of you who don't know, we're talking about HeroQuest. I don't know how I never knew it existed for like 20 years after it was already long gone and people had all this nostalgia for it and all that, and I was just like, of the what now? Yeah, I don't know how I missed all of that, but I missed all of that. Okay, again, with the peeling. Now, again, this is that particular brand. The paper peels off easily. For those of you in the UK and Australia that can't find the easy peel stuff, I do not know what to tell you on that. But when you're peeling it, when you peel, it automatically wants to curl to the side that the paper came off of. So peeling the other side, and it'll flatten right back out. But peeling this off also creates a lot of, not creates, it's already there, releases a lot of static electricity, and everything wants to stick together and stick to you. So all I can tell you is just be patient with this and take your time. See, you can see that curve. I took the paper off to what's now the bottom, and you can see it curving that direction. So yeah. Mythic tier set of the new game from the crowdfunding they did restart. Yeah, I heard all about that. I don't know anything about it specifically. Again, it was never my little passion thing. So I just somehow missed out on all of that until suddenly, like every creator but me was like, I'm building a Hero Quest thing. And I was like, oh, what? I mean, I knew what Hero Quest was by that point, but I didn't understand how much people loved it and how much they were super happy that a newer version was coming out and all that. So that's very cool. The inner geek in me is like, hooray, that's so cool. Even though I don't understand your geekery, I feel for you, my friends. Okay. Lay down. I know you want to join everything because of the static. Stop that. Oop. See, it doesn't always peel off perfectly. Okay, on the black from the same brand, from the same store, there are two versions of the black cupboard. One version has black paper directly on the foam. It is just as hard to peel as any of the European or Australian stuff I've ever seen. But, wow, the static is trying to make it float like a magnet on the wrong polarity. But the black stuff, it's actually the two layers. If you look under the black, there's actually a layer of white paper as well. That's essentially the white paper stuff with black paper tossed over it, so it peels just as easily. I don't know that they still have that because, you know, it's done in production runs, and they may not have ever done that again. That was years ago that I saw that. Stop sliding around. Hate static. Absolutely hate it. Okay. Now, if you ever really, really, really need to get rid of all the static in this, here's what I do. I will take those and sit them out like that. And alcohol and water, something about it breaks it up. And at this point, they won't stick anymore. The static's all gone. It's just that quick. Now, that's alcohol and water, so that'll evaporate in seconds. I say that, it's not yet, but that's all right. It will. So, as you can see, they aren't sticking or pushing apart from each other anymore. Blowing out to get some of that water and go away. Okay, now I'm going to want to take these and basically, no, I really got to figure out how to do that. So that's half of a door. I want this part to be the visible part. So, yep, there we go. So, good. And that gets rid of all my points, I think. No, still going to have two that are going to be a little weird. All right, so. Basically, I want them to go together like that, but it's going to be 4 layers. I'm trying to figure out how to do the other one. See, because that just takes all of the point of having the 4 layers out if I do it this way. For sure, that'll work, but, Anybody got any bright ideas? Now would be the time to pound them into my noggin because I'm at a loss. Do. Okay. I think I got it figured out now. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. Need to have 2 of those. Let me make sure those fit together. It's going to be like that. It's going to be like that. That's going to be like that. And now, those fit. Yeah, look at that. Now we're cooking with gas. Okay. The first ones of these need to match up just like this. We're going to put the point of the triangle to the point of the sticky inny bit to the point of the sticky outy bit. All right. Hot glue gun should be hot right now. Of course it's not, because I never turned it on. Okay, so now we're going to talk about blast doors. Okay, so what's the point of a blast door in a space station-y sort of thing? Everybody wants to think that it's the, people could shoot things, but let's think about this from specifically the Death Star viewpoint. In the Death Star, you've got the big honkin', oops, let's not blind y'all. You got those big doors, and you see Vader and Ben fighting over there, pew 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 pew, and then the doors slide shut just as Vader starts to walk towards the thing. So the point of the blast door really is that his lightsaber can cut through lots of stuff, but getting through a blast door is going to take it long enough that the ship can get away. So spoilers. For anybody who hasn't seen Star Wars, I don't know what to tell you. Spoilers. So from a storytelling viewpoint, blast door in that case means it would take him a stinking long time to use his lightsaber to cut his way through. Unless it's Obi-Wan in a later movie, which is actually an earlier movie, and he needs to get through quick. Then he just hacks through it, and it's like nobody's business. But that's... we don't tell anybody that. Okay, so why are there blast doors around the hangar on the Death Star? Okay, the Death Star is supposed to be this big bad thing that's completely impenetrable. Yes, we know about the port now, but at the time, they thought it was impossible. So why do they need blast doors around a hangar? There's only 2 possibilities. One, it's not all impregnable, and some other ship is going to come in, guns blazing, and try to shoot the walls, and the blast door and all of the walls are super thick and sturdy. Now, there's a tiny little viewport up there that's just got glass or transparent aluminum if you're in Star Trek or whatever, but it doesn't have blast resistant capability. So we're just skipping the viewport for now. So either it is impregnable or it's not. If it's not, they should have been a lot more worried about that one small exhaust port. If it is impregnable, you don't need blast doors. So I've never really understood the point of it. But in a normal setting where things might happen, such as Robotech or something, where there's a lot more semi-realism, like they lose atmosphere and whole sections are jettisoned out in space and people blah, blah, blah. Then blast doors make a lot of sense because they slam shut quick, but are capable of withstanding the amount of force that the suction vacuum of space and the air pressure on the inside of the, in this case, Death Star, are capable of putting out. So that is what blast doors are for. They shut quickly and stop pressure, not lasers. Because if it's supposed to be impregnable and somebody comes in shooting it up, what's to stop them coming in and kamikazing it, firing things that are just, ballistic projectiles as opposed to lasers? That means bullets, but in this case, really big honking bullets. Yeah, so I actually don't really get the concept of calling them blast doors so much as emergency pressure doors or quick shut bulkheads or something like that. I've never understood the point of calling them blast doors. That's neither here nor there. That's just me rambling because I'm waiting for my glue to heat up. Let's see. Okay, you were in high school, talked your mom into getting the main box set for the Christmas that year, 89. So you're like right near my age. I found another box with a module in a yard sale, probably 15 or 16 years back. Yeah, I know somebody who got HeroQuest boards that had been bought for two of the kids, and neither of them had ever been interested in it. And he got two HeroQuest boards for $2 each, $4 for two sets. Never opened. I was just like, even I who don't get super excited about HeroQuest, I'm like, holy fuzz nuggets. That's a good deal. So yeah, they say that the deal of a lifetime comes around about every 10 days, and that guy found it. That guy found it. So blast door like a fire door, yeah, I could think that as well. So maybe, yeah, I guess if a ship came in that was already had been attacked, it was a friendly ship but came in, but it was on fire, you might not want that to spread through your large spheroid space station. But the whole bloody thing is made out of metal. It can't have spread too far. But yeah, maybe it is like a fire blast door, like a I guess they call them blast doors, those big, huge ones that come down in concrete office buildings, especially old military complexes and such. They had those at a hospital my dad worked at. My dad was public health service, and they had those at a hospital he worked at. And I was like scared to death of them. And I'm good at dead reckoning because I can find my way through office buildings, because a lot of government buildings aren't arranged like this or like this. They're arranged like this, and you have to find your way through all these weird diagonal tunnels and everything. So I got really good at that as a kid. But there was a couple of places down this one hall where I was like, always just look up at the ceiling and be like, please don't fall on my head. Please don't fall on my head. So yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that is what it is. All right, you hot yet, Mr. Glue Gun? Getting there. Okay, so we almost have glue. So I'm going to put away this bottle, and then I will get around to the gluing. That'll give it just a few more seconds to heat up. And for anybody who's been paying attention to all the stuff I do back here during the last few weeks, no, I still haven't found my magnets. I still don't know where that. I know where most of my magnets are, but I don't know where my neodymiums that I need for my minis are. So neodymiums, rare earth, whatever you want to call that. The ones never mind. That was about to be a political rant. I'm going to leave that alone. Okay, while I'm thinking about it, go ahead and resharpen. And by that point, I will definitely have glue hot enough to glue with. Okay, so that's U sharp. And where's my other one? That's U sharp. Put you up there. Okay, now let's switch back to the bright light. Oh, let's switch y'all to the other camera first. Okay, now that I've got some glue ready to go, let's while I'm thinking about it, I do have some patrons. Your name could be here. Yes, it could. But here are my Patreon patrons. The first one's Lisa, that's Dungeon Matron. She has her only real social presence as far as crafting or anything goes is her Discord. I've got links to her Discord and my Discord down below, so you can find those. We have a tendency to hang out there on Saturday evenings and Wednesday evenings. Early mid-afternoon her time in California, later afternoon mine. So it comes and goes. But if you go to her Discord and you go up to the very top there and you click on events, she has a standing event for every Wednesday. So we get together and talk about stuff like this. I also do similar things on my Discord, so feel free to join that. Otherwise, I know I always forget to tell people, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel down below. It really helps out. All right, my second patron, that's Patrick Walther, longtime supporter of the channel. Really hugely appreciate the help there. Last one is DC, that's Digital Calibrator. And Digital Calibrator actually comes over and helps me with some stuff, like physically. So I've had some organization done recently that they helped with. And I also have several of my audio and video settings for this channel they've helped me with. So the fact that you are here now and enjoying my sultry tones, you can thank DC for at least part of that. And yeah, let's get into it now. Let me go ahead and take that off of the screen there. All right. Now, these first two, I want to be shaped like this. I want these pieces here to match like that. And I want to do two of those. I'm matching this corner to this corner. That's the outside edge of the foam to the outside edge of the foam. Now, I'm trying to decide if I want to attach, for stability's sake, I was thinking of attaching I'm definitely going to be attaching these this way, but I was also thinking of attaching some on the inside for durability's sake, but I don't know if I actually want to do that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Now, the question is, can I do that with thin enough hot glue? It's on low temperature. If you put it on high temp, you're gonna melt this foam like quickly. So this is on the low temp of the hot glue, so the not as hot glue. And I'm gonna run as thin a bead as I can, because there is no way I'm waiting for white glue to dry on this. Small a bead as I can, and then I want to press it flat with the metal nib there. And then already with the strings. All right. And we are going to make these more stable, more durable by attaching these coffee stirrers. Now, I am just lucky in that these particular flimsy, wussy little coffee stirrers happen to be, let's just go with exactly, not quite exactly, but I'm not getting into the whole micron differences of it, but exactly the thickness of the peeled foam core. Now, this foam core is 5 millimeters, half a centimeter when you get it. But the paper, each of the pieces of paper is about a half a mil thick. So once you've peeled the paper from both sides, you're left with a 4 mil piece of foam. Now, I could try to do that in imperial measurements, but I'm just not gonna, because it is 4 millimeters. That's the way it's made. This stuff's made in, Asian countries and all of that, and so it's done metric. It's 4 millimeters. It doesn't say that anywhere on the board, but it's 4 millimeters. And I'm left with a little piece here, which I don't want. So we will take that and trim off that hot glue, which is really being reluctant. This is why I didn't want any to squeeze out on the sides, but well, can't have everything. Okay, now I want that board cut right in parallel with that there. And I have no easy way to do this. So it's just many, many, many very careful passes in the same groove over and over with that knife. And I'll try to get that more to the center of the screen there. And I could do this with a nipper, but it's not going to come off as accurately. So you're only going to be able to get it so perfect, and that's as good as I'm going to be able to do that. So let's do the other side. I'm probably already coming up on 8 o'clock, which means I am not going to get nearly as much of this done tonight as I wanted. I don't like to go over an hour and a half, keep y'all from being too stinking bored and all that. So yeah, it's 8:06, and more of the same. And I'll be doing a lot of this over the rest of the week. So I will be posting pictures of this. I just said I hate saying I will be posting a lot of pictures of this on my Discord. Not a lot. Pictures of either interim stages or the final piece. I am going to need nippers because there's no way I'm putting up with all this. All right. Over the week, as I finish this up, like I said, this assignment, quote unquote, is due by next week for the Out of Your Comfort Zone challenge on Carl Makes Stuff's YouTube. And sorry that I do not have a link to that, but if you go to my Discord, ask me, I can get you a link. Or it's called Carl Makes Stuff. Carl is spelled with a K. And usually has a live stream on Sundays. Didn't have one today because he put out a video instead. Got a lot of stuff going on. And next week, first Sunday in June, will be the Outside the Comfort Zone challenge, which is why I'm building this, because I don't normally build modern or futuristic stuff. And yeah, so I'll be posting some links to some pictures of this, at least one or two pictures of this as it comes as either interim steps or the finished product after it's done. And or you can see this and my other build, that one that I did with the Quonset hut. And I know that Sahat Crafts already has a project or 10 that he's turned in on his. So there's at least a couple of them. Kim from Questboard Terrain, currently watching, says that they are going to be building some things as well, or at least a thing. Oh, have a good night, Kim. Sorry. See you next week at the challenge. Okay, so that was Kim. Kim just left. And yeah, so they are building something as well. Okay. I realize I'm going that off screen because I am a professional. I'm semi-professional. A professional would have realized they were doing it, not done it. A semi-professional would catch it halfway through and go, "No!" Which is exactly what I did. Got me a few more of these just so I got them ready to go. And we'll take that and that up there. Push that into the glue. Hopefully it was still warm enough. It was. Let me take the nippers. Trim that off flush. That is not good enough, so now we got to sand it. Trick here is sand only the wood, not the foam. Oh, if I'd been thinking, I could have built... Nope. Not second guessing myself. But if I'd been thinking, I'd have cut this 2 boards thinner and been able to put boards all the way around it. But I don't really need to do that. It doesn't need to be that sturdy, and it's literally a one-off thing for a contest. If I was making a diorama or something like that, I'd be doing this totally differently anyway. So, started to glue it off camera again because I do not learn from past mistakes. I'm like a baby. I have no sense of object retention, object permanence. I never know where I left my binky. Okay. All right. All right. A lot of sanding. There's always a lot of sanding. You're getting into this hobby new. Sandpaper. Almost as important as glue. Almost. That's a noise, isn't it? Bet y'all are happy you tuned in for that. All right, we're done with that. For now. There will be more. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Where's that little half-sized piece I just tossed over here? There you are. Okay. Like I said, I don't learn from mistakes. I still almost glued it off camera. And I don't know if you can see this, but I am putting on the tiniest bit of hot glue I can manage to get on there. Okay. Oh, well, I wanted that stick, but I guess I'm not going to use that stick because that stick flew across the room. Okay, I got little bird edges here. Don't want those. More scraping, more scratching. Sorry. Problem is when I'm sanding these, the entire door is acting like a sounding board. Anybody want to hear about my role-playing game, or are y'all tired of hearing me talk about the fact I'm writing that? So I can talk about that if you'd like. Okay, so that's 1/4 of those done. I need to do that same thing for these other 6 pieces. Painting minis too much to build anything in a while, and not really sure what we consider out of my comfort zone. Yeah, that was my thing. I was like, I can build any of this stuff. Oh, gaming cons are always the best. I like going to conventions. The one that's my local is too big. It sets off all of my panic attacky stuff. But typically, I like going to conventions because the one that's big here that I don't know that I will ever go back to, but I really love it. I am not in any way talking smack about it. It is a wonderful convention. It is called Dragon Con, and I like to refer to that as hanging out with 85,000 of my close personal friends. Because if you're at the con and other people are at the con, you're all the same type of geek. Or if you're not at a big convention like Dragon Con, it's got a lot of stuff, not just gaming. Even if you're not the same kind of geek, you're close enough that you can strike up a conversation, be like, so what are you into? Oh, really? Okay, that's cool. Ever happened to me with gaming, but it has on other subjects, because I go to conventions for, I am not a single facet geek. I have many geekdoms. And so I have friends that I've been friends with for 19 years from this convention. So it's I like them. I'm going on and on and on about that, but you know what I mean. It's very cool. Very cool. More glue. Wiping it off on the edges there. Oh, you missed an inaugural year? That's all right. No one will know. Just tell them you were there. I won't tell. He's sneaking around me. You know that guy loosely collected? Yeah, he totally wasn't here last. Okay, no, I wouldn't. But yeah, it's always cool getting in on the ground floor one. I did that in a couple of conventions when I lived in Texas. They were run by a friend of mine and people who became friends of mine later because I was working at those conventions. And they, if you're there at the beginning, then when it comes around a few years later and people are like, oh my God, this thing's been around forever. Like, oh, I know. I remember when I was there in 2025. People are like, oh my God, you've been coming to this that long? How cool. All right. So, okay. Oddly, you wouldn't know it. The inner doors of this, the ones where you put the wood on the inside track rather than the outside edge, are actually easier. This has been kind of a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. And I did not mean to say pain in the butt, but there it is, pain in the butt. But sound like a motorboat. But. My great aunt raised me, not my genetic mom or my adoptive mom, really, for the first 8 years of my life. And she had a cat named Evinrude. He was called that because of how loudly he purred. He sounded like a motorboat engine. So when I go but, I am actually thinking about a cat from my very early childhood. I think the name Evinrude was a joke on the Disney movie where there's a character named Evinrude because, well, he also pushes a boat around. So we know where both names came from, but I don't know if one is from the movie or if one is just made up on, if they're both just made up on their own. So, yeah. Neither here nor there. I'm just rambling on. Okay, I have made a way to go, I've figured out a way to make this go faster. I'm going to put these on all these little slants, and then sit those out of the way to cool, and then come back and do the middle parts. And that way I can get a bunch of this done without having to switch back and forth between glue and sand and glue and sand and glue and sandpaper. So that's that. Oh, did my thing. I always get into the project and lapse into quietude. All right. I didn't forget y'all are there, I promise. Okay. Let's see what we got going on out there. Somebody posted a huge pile of old minis for $100 on Facebook Marketplace locally. I'm hoping I still. Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. Well, you're still hoping. I hope you're the only geek looking at Facebook Marketplace in your area, so you get in on the deal there, bud. Somebody asked me one time, why do you call everybody Bud? Like, blame Big Trouble in Little China? You go attacking us some demons there, Bud. You know that don't get that reference? I'm sorry. Y'all need to go watch that movie. Not a command or anything. I'm not your mama, but you need to go watch that movie. Big Trouble in Little China is a great movie. And to quote the movie, no horseshit, Chin. Again, this show is not for minors. Okay, I should have enough miniature lumber attached here that I can go ahead and start to trim this and use the smaller pieces on the pieces over here. So I'm trimming these as close as possible. I don't want to have to sand all day long. So okay, is that long enough to fit across that gap? Yes. So we'll take that, measure that what we call pretty close. Okay, that's weird. Sorry about all that. The receiver for my microphone had come just a ever slight bit so loose from my plug on the back of my computer there. That is very strange because it's just been sitting there still this entire time. I don't know why it's done that. It's never done that before, but there's always some new technological goofery with my world. I have gremlins, well-known fact, and they do all sorts of weird stuff, like make my microphones quit working. Oh, I was just rambling anyway. I was talking about them play guys and dolls because I said something was going to fit nicely, and it reminded me as a character, nicely. And if y'all know Guys and Dolls, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, well, you should go watch that play. The play's awesome. Okay. Back to this again. That seemed to work better than the nippers. Okay, and then this one's got to be sanded. This is actually delicate work because it's super easy. As you can see, I've already put some fingerprints or fingernail marks into the foam. And some of that's fine because it's going to look like wear and tear on the door, and that's all well and good. But you don't want to overdo it. And you certainly don't want to like snap off a door that you're halfway through building. That would just be infuriating. All right, so where's some of this glue that's on here? Not sure exactly how I'm going to do that. I think that's going to work. Sort of. Yeah, eventually. Okay. Then sand this other side. Yeah, good enough. Okay, now those two pieces fit together like that. So when all is said and done, all of these doors are going to fit together in some variation of this. And that's what I'm working with. I hope y'all have enjoyed it. It is getting toward 8:30. I'm going to go ahead and get off of the video here so I can get back into concentrating on gluing this stuff without distracting myself with the microphone and all that. Sorry that the audio cut out, but yep, gremlins, always gremlins. Alrighty, so thank y'all for coming. Let me turn off this light before I blind y'all. Okay. Oh, and for those of you who've been paying attention to my lighting stuff, I have gotten that one light bulb switched out. It's not a bulb. Element switched out. So now I can do things like change colors and such and have reds and blues, and it's not actually as very bright. This camera does not pick it up very well. My phone that I use for taking my still shots picks up all these colors really well. So these can be great for mood lighting, for things like when I'm lighting my city scenes and things like that. For some reason, the white light is way brighter than the rest of them. So joys of LEDs, I guess. The joys of cheap $6 LEDs, I guess. So once again, because I always forget, please like, share, and subscribe. This is Campaign Terrain. I've been your host, That Guy Cross. You're welcome to my basement anytime. If this is your first time, I'm glad to have you. If this is your 100th time, I'm glad to have you. I just like to build, and I hope to inspire some other people to build things for the tabletop, whether it's diorama, art, role-playing games, war games, any of that. We're all in this together. We're all the same kinds of geeks. And so I'm pulling for you. Seriously, can't say it enough. This Campaign Terrain, I love you. And until next time, I wish you luck in your campaign, whether that's in real life or on the table. Thank you so much, and you have a great night.